Yo, what's up my brother, what's up my sister? This is your boy Oscar Ntege again with yet another amazing tutorial. In this particular tutorial today guys, I'm going to show you how to make your images have a 3D feel using Photoshop. This is what I mean. We're going to make your images look more 3D, look more three-dimensional, like as if they're moving within space using these two particular techniques. There are lots of channels that really explain this technique, but they don't go into the whys and the whats of what exactly they do. But in this particular one, I'm going to show you the basics of what you need to know and what you need to do when you're in studio and what you need to do when you are shooting, when you are actually editing in Photoshop here. So this image, we're going to turn it into something that has more depth. So let me just give you a glimpse of what we're going to do. Basically, we're going to use curves, and then we're going to add to sharpen certain parts of the eyes and enhance lights in certain parts of the face so that we have certain parts pop out and we push back some other parts. Basically, it is much more of using a technique called chiaroscuro. It is a painting technique that Baroque painters used to use in order to give that illusion of depth from light to shadow. So basically what we do is creating heavy contrasts between highlights and shadows so that we create more depth and dimension within an image. Anyway, enough with the chit-chatting, but let us dive into this. So this is what we're going to do. You come here into the adjustment layers right here. You go on to curves there. We're going to name this shadows. We're going to come and duplicate it again, and we are going to rename the upper one highlight. Yeah, okay, there we go. So the next thing we're going to do, let us first remove this. So we come back to the shadow zone, and then we're going to crush the shadows, just push them completely down, just like that. Okay, then we are going to we select the layer mask, we press Ctrl I or Command I on our keyboard just to invert that particular layer. So we come back on the top layer of the highlight. Yeah, we come here, we double click over there, and then we make the highlights pop just like that. See? Then we say Ctrl I to invert the mask. So we're going to get our brush tool and we begin pushing away certain parts away from us. The only way we can push away certain things is by us painting over white in those areas that we want to push away. So let us do this and see. So you're going to come here and then let us reduce the opacity and flow. And then we are going to come and just paint white over these particular parts. Yeah, everywhere you see black and shadows, that is where you come and around the eye area. So we are basically doing like burning and dodging and contouring. Yeah. Though this time you take it a little bit deeper. Now you see there is a shadow around this area, so we shall paint over there. Yeah. There is a depression here, so we shall make it deeper as well. So basically it is emphasizing the shadows more. When you look at the eye shadow, it's a bit dark as compared to that upper part of the eye. We do the same thing over here. Yeah, we come around here, nose area here. So when you look at these sides of the face, there are shadows. So we shall come and still emphasize the shadows by burning through and painting over those particular zones like that. Because I posted this image on Instagram and people wanted me to show them how I created this particular thing. Now, the other thing you have to notice is that this particular image has a rim light on it. The rim light helps us sell the effect even more. In my upcoming course that I'm building for you guys, I demonstrate all these different lighting techniques that are going to help you better your photography and take it to the next level. I want you guys to be successful. I want you guys to thrive through this particular career of photography. So let us just do this. We make it this deeper. You come and still burn over this. So the goal is just making the shadows deeper and more. Oops, sorry, we changed color here. So you're going to come and make it white. That is why the effect was not so intense, like that. You make sure you take it slow, not so hard. Like that. So let us look at the before and after. You guys have a look. Before, after. Before and after. You see how we are emphasizing certain parts and making even the nose more pointed, and the chisels, we are emphasizing the chisels even more of her face and the like. Because it is basically deceiving the eye, And we are going to come on the highlight layer, and then we begin, still make sure white is selected. We shall maintain the opacity and flow, and then we come here and just do the same over here. Everywhere you see a highlight, you emphasize. Now here we have like a highlight. Slowly. I don't have a pad. I'm using everything by the way, using a mouse. Yeah, I tried using a pad once, but maybe I was too ghetto. I'm used to being shrewd because I never started. I started my editing with a mouse, so I'm so much used to a mouse in that when I tried using a pad, I failed pretty. But I'm going to adapt to it and maybe advance, But for now, for the sake of being fast, I'll use a mouse. That is why you hear mouse clicks all through my tutorials if you're very observant. So you still come over the forehead and you emphasize that. So now look at the eye area. The eye area is very, very crucial. When you look at this particular part of the eye, it is usually highlighted by makeup artists. So you can't get a brush and still we emphasize the highlight here. This one usually gets a little bit more highlighted because remember in my tutorial when I was talking about the eyes and how important they are to creating more presence in a portrait, I talked about them being the gateway to the soul. So still here you highlight these particular zones more to create more contrast. We still come here around the eye bag area, just a little bit like that. Still there, right there. Okay, let us see what we have. Okay, before, after, before and after. So we're going to still come over the edges here where you see this particular highlight, and even make it lighter. Just paint over the edge. You get a big brush here, and then we emphasize that. We still come and emphasize the edges over the hair. So we're going to come here and of course highlight this particular one because makeup artists usually put it there. over there. We have a highlight over here. Basically, we are looking out for those particular highlights. Now, there is a nose highlight here. So usually you just come over here and then just emphasize it so that it pops. Let us increase the nose contour as well, the nose highlight, so that the nose protrudes more. Just going to come and also paint over here, a little bit of highlighting the lips. By the way, the model's name is Christine. She uses Nabachwa on her Instagram account. I'll put a link to her Instagram account in the bio so that you guys can follow her. And I've also attached an image where you can download and follow along. You can always tag her and, let her know she's very beautiful, just to show that we are grateful for using her image, just to say thank you. Yeah, we go like that. And then let us just zoom out and see. Then we come also here and then we emphasize these particular parts. So let us put these in a folder and see the before and after. Look at this. That's the before. See how flat it looked? And that is the after. The before, after. So the next thing we are going to do right now, and this is now the magic formula. We are going to first create what we call a stamp, so that all these effects really apply on the uppermost layer. Before we do that, if you want this particular effect emphasized more, you can just come and duplicate this group and have it even deeper, but we don't want to take it that direction, so we shall delete this. We just want to keep it simple and nice. So we're just going to create a stamp for for all these effects. You press Ctrl Alt Shift and E on your keyboard to create a stamp. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to whiten eyes. That is what we are going to do first. Then we sharpen the eyes so that the eyes pop even more, right? Let us dive into this. You come here into color. It's going to be a quick eye whitening thing. So I look at the whitest part of the eye and press Alt here using the color replacement tool and just click on this and then just paint over there. I really don't want to make it so much of I'm actually just coloring onto the pixels. I don't color everything. I just need that illusion. It is the same effect I'm going to use over her teeth here. Still, I don't color everything to the edge because it tends to look blue. So I only come and do the color replacement just on top of where I see highlights. I don't take it all the way that side to give that illusion of depth and the like. So the next thing we're going to do right now, I'm just going to create more presence in the eyes. So how are we going to do that? We're going to come here. Let's first get our lasso tool. We're going to take this to 0. Remember, we are creating a 3D fill. And then we come and select right there. We're going to add another selection over this side. You select, of course, following like the shape of the eye. Yeah, like that. Then you come here into curves, adjustment layers, and then you increase the light. So we're going to come here and also into the red zone, and we make the reds even more so that we get not so much, a little, and then we come into the green and pull down a little bit of magenta, not so much, like that. So we come into the blue zone and put up a little bit of yellow. We shall put it down so that it becomes typically brown like that. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to come here into filter. You say blur and we say Gaussian blur. Then we're going to crush the blur a bit down. We just need a very, very light blur so that we give it some bit of edge. Like, we shall keep it yes, around there. So what we are going to do, we need the pupil still emphasized. So you get your brush here, and then you remove the hardness completely. Yeah, and then you come and create a brush that is almost the size of the pupil, and then just make sure it is black that is on top, because we need to now hide certain parts where we don't want the black. And then we just let us increase the opacity here. Just come and we paint over there. We do the same thing over this eye, so that we have the pupils more emphasized. Now, yeah, so the next thing we're going to do, we're just going to come and reduce the opacity so that she doesn't have robotic eyes. We're just creating more presence in her eyes. That's it. Like that, really, depending on your taste. That's the before and that's the after, you know. Even if you don't have a very expensive lens or expensive lights that would really bring out the eye color. Now, this is how you work on the eye color. I have a full tutorial. I'll put a link up there so that you see how we fully work on the eyes, but I'll keep it there. So the next thing, we are going to create another stamp just right on top. You press Ctrl Alt Shift and E right there. Then you come with your lasso tool. You're going to select around the eyes like that, and also we come, make sure we add the selection by clicking here, and then you select also around these eyes. So we're going to right click and say layer via copy. So we're going to come and delete this. Oops, sorry, I didn't say duplicate, I said delete. So we're going to rename this eyes. Yeah, so we're going to duplicate this. Yeah, and then let us rename this eyes lower, and we're going to rename this eyes upper. So here's what we're going to do. We come and unsee this. You come onto the eyes layer, you come into filter, you say blur, Gaussian blur. You remember how you do the frequency separation technique. Now it is what we are doing here. Basically, we are using this particular technique to sharpen the eyes in a smart way. Yeah. So you just come here. Not so much. Yeah, I'll keep it around there. Then I come here into the upper layer here. I say image, apply image. So I come and select the eyes lower. I come here and say subtract, keep the rest at 2, the offset at 128, and then you say okay. Then you come here and say linear light. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to come and kill the opacity of this. Watch what happens. When I remove this, see how sharp the eyes become? But we don't want them that sharp. So we're just going to come and just kill the opacity. I'm going to take it overboard for the sake of this tutorial, because I'm not sure what you're seeing on screen, but I'm just going to keep it a bit overboard. But normally I keep it around 64, but for the tutorial I'm just going to keep it down so that you get to see, yeah, you get to see what I'm talking about exactly. So you come here, put this in a group like that, and we're going to name the group eyes. So click on the layer mask icon with the group selected, and then you get the brush tool, yeah, and then you paint black over the edges so that make sure the brush tool is soft, and then you paint over these edges so that we get rid of this ugly lining that came as a result of just going to pass it over below the wrinkles. We come over here onto the eyebrow zone, we remove all these like that. So let us put these in a group, all of them in a group, and I show you the before and after. Now look at this. That is the before. That is how flat it looked. the after. Now we have something that looks 3D. It's like it's floating in 3D space. And guess what? We've not even touched the background. We've only worked on the image itself, but using the chiaroscuro technique of emphasizing the shadows and emphasizing the highlights so that they have that contrast in between the two of them. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, click the subscribe button and of course leave a comment below and tell me what has resonated with you in this particular tutorial. With that, I'll see you in my next tutorial and adios.